because my next guest is due on stage in the West End, probably actually in the next half hour thereabouts. He's in Tango at the End of Winter. His talent has taken him to Broadway with the RAC and to Hollywood in films such as Die Hard and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Here he is as the villainous sheriff of Nottingham. Will you welcome Alan Rickman? I think the fans are all in tonight, Alan, somehow or other. Actually, that's a wonderful line in that film, isn't it? Call Off Christmas.
It is a good line. It's I suppose theatre training tells you, because actually the last line in the script was no more merciful beheadings, but some kind of common sense said, no, we'll move Call Off Christmas to the end.
That was wonderful. I hear that there were an awful lot of swords broken during the making of the film.
All broken by me, I'm afraid, yes. I think they said my performance was getting a little too enthusiastic, and we got through about 10 of them.
You're into realism, are you, Alan?
No, I'm into making as much noise as possible.
Was there a fight director to stage everything?
There was, poor man, yes, but we were having to invent it all as we went along, doing 6 strokes at a time and then do it. And fortunately, Kevin Costner's a very good swordsman, so we were okay.
Much has actually been written about Kevin Costner and this film, but from your point of view, was he quite a generous actor to work alongside?
Well, the trouble with playing the sheriff to Robin Hood, or like in Die Hard, you only meet the hero at the beginning and then at the end when he has to kill you. But there was we didn't have that much to actually do together in terms of scenes. But there was one night when we were stuck up on top of some gantry, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio and I, and we're playing a scene which is, we're doing it at night, it's supposed to be in day, at daytime there's nobody to act to, so you're pushing these lines out into nothing, and suddenly from on the ground, lying on a tarpaulin at 9 o'clock at night, I could see and hear Kevin Costner reading the other actors' lines to us off camera, so, he's a good guy.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, does it? But that film brought in floods of offers. Now, you turned down a lot of those to be in the West End, so how's your agent these days? Is his mental health all right?
I don't know about his mental health. His bank balance isn't so good, but it was not possible to say no to working with this wonderful, wonderful director. A great company and a great play.
Yeah, we should set the scene. Tango at the End of Winter. It's a Japanese play by a Japanese writer and directed by a wonderful Japanese director who does not speak a word of English.
Well, he says he doesn't. He seemed to understand a few things when he wanted to, but no, he doesn't speak English, and so it was all done through an interpreter she was phenomenal, Eureka, because it was like having a breath standing next to him, and so my memory is of absolutely having conversations with him.
But how does he get the finer points of what he really wants to see across if he doesn't really converse?
Because his spirit is so strong in the room, and also because the finer points are actually not what was the issue. The issue at the time was us having to get up onto the highest diving board you've ever seen in your life and jump in, and you had to swim, and as he said, you'll find out about this play by doing it. It's absolutely what theatre is about. When you go and see the show, you know you're in a theatre watching a play. You couldn't mix it up with cinema or television. And so he encouraged that kind of bravery. The only real language problems were, like because you were having to kind of jump in and do long runs at a rehearsal, he would make you keep going, and then suddenly these hands would clap, and it would mean, we'll stop the rehearsal, and you say, no, I mean, we're right in the middle of it. And he said, no, I do not wish to offend British custom, it's time for tea break.
Now, I want to move on to 2 films that you're in at the moment, Truly, Madly, Deeply, and Close My Eyes. Now, I gather that Close My Eyes was written especially for you. That must be a great luxury these days.
I don't know that the whole film was written for me.
Your part was?
The part was, yes. Well, it's wonderful for a writer that you respect to actually say, I'm not sure what it means that he thinks about me. I'm playing a fairly strange kind of person.
In what way?
Well, you're dealing with somebody called Stephen Polyakov here, who is a writer that deals in putting very jagged edges against each other. You know, it's a film about how uncertain our lives are now, and it's very much a film about the beginning of the 90s. You know, all these things that we've been told are facts suddenly are crumbling in front of our eyes. And so, you know, on the one hand you have Russia and everything that's happening there. On the other hand, you have to deal with AIDS and such like issues of the times. And Stephen has kind of interwoven all of these things into a story of Britain in the 90s. So my character on the face of it seems to be like one of the perpetrators of the awful things that are happening to buildings around Docklands, and I suppose an arch-yuppie, but actually underneath it all is a great deal of wisdom, which is necessary considering he finds out that his wife is having an affair with her own brother.
Right. Well, this is the point where we actually do have a clip, and indeed it is the point in the film that Alan discovers that his wife is not quite as honest as he thinks.
Could you give me the number of the Royal George Hotel, Nuneaton, please? No. I want to speak to Mrs. Natalie Bryant, please. You are in Nuneaton, are you? Look, could you give me the name of every hotel in Nuneaton, please? It's urgent. There's a flood in the kitchen.
Let's get this straight. The hotels, all the hotels, there is an explanation. Must be.
What's that, a typical Saturday at Waitrose for you? Is it talking to yourself?
I don't think that character goes to the supermarket very often.
Actually, there are quite a number of passionate scenes in the film. So how do you personally cope with shooting all these love scenes at 8 o'clock in the morning with the whole crew standing around watching?
It's very tough. I'd never done one of those scenes before. Well, what happened was, there we were, it was at about 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. The director's kind of mooching about and talking to the crew are putting up lights. Saskia Reeves, who is wonderful as my wife in the film, is in her nightie because she's decided she's taken her clothes off enough in the film. So we're going to play this love scene with her in her nightie. And not to put too fine a point of it, she's on top.
Right, we've got the picture
Yes.
now, yes. Mm-hmm.
So she gets into bed and she hisses to me, "Are you keeping your knickers on?" And I said, "Yes, I am, because the sheets are up to here." She said, "Good, because I can't, because this night dress is see-through." So it's about that sort of practicality, really. Very unromantic.
Now listen, just before you dash the stage, there's one thing I really want to ask you about, because I love the Die Hard movie. But at the very end, when you are chucked off that 100-floor building, you can actually see your face as you go down and down and down. How did they shoot that?
They dropped me from 40 feet. They came up, see, I was so green. They came up with a very strange sort of sideways glance and said, "Well, we got this great idea for a shot, and we were just wondering if maybe, you know, because we want to put the camera in your face, and maybe if you wouldn't mind, you know, we could teach you how to do it," and all of this kind of thing. And so I thought about it, and they did train me. But anyway, I was stupid enough to say yes, but they were clever enough to make sure it was the very last shot I did on the film, so if they killed me, they still had a movie.
Alan, I'm very pleased you've been able to join us on the programme tonight. Thank you very much indeed. And you better dash.
I have.
You're on stage. Alan Rickman. And that's just about it for this week. Thanks, of course, to all